Hello, Waswere here, back with another video, and today we're going to be talking about Archaeology, specifically all of the relics within the skill. Relics are passive buffs that are put onto your character, and you can have a maximum of 3 active at a time. On top of that, they also take a certain amount of monolith energy, and at 99 you have 500 energy, while when you get to 120 you can have up to 650 energy to use. I'm going to be ranking all 29 of the relics. I should note that I am primarily a mainscaper, so that means I can't as accurately take Ironman issues into consideration, but I will do my best to highlight situations where they are useful to them. The rankings will be based on monolith energy cost, how niche the benefit is, how powerful that benefit is, and whether it's worth it to swap your relics around for it. First off, we're going to start in the skilling category. There are 14 of them, and let's go by level. Starting at level 25, we get the Unexpected Diplomacy Relic, which gives you 10% extra reputation at the Heart of Glenor, Farming Guild, Menethos, and Mazcab. This is going into the D rank as it has some use, but it's extremely niche and not powerful enough to worry about. Menethos' reputation is pretty quick with dailies. Heart of Glenor reputation goes quickly with anima crystals from the Traveling Merchant. The Farming Guild reputation goes up passively as you level, and by the time you're level 120, you're going to have it all done. The one where I think it's useful is the Mazcap reputation, as you're mostly daily locked on that, as it takes 100 days of Nemi Forest to be able to complete that. So if you can start getting your raids rerolls 10 days earlier, it's nice. Also, the 50 monolith energy cost means that you're paying very little to move things around. Pouch Protector, which you get at level 36, goes straight into S tier. This is arguably the best skilling relic. Not only are pouches degrading annoying to deal with, but also the massive pouch degrades to dust, meaning every time it degrades, you needed to buy a new one with runespan points. With this relic in tow, you'll only ever need one massive pouch, and only need the runespan points to be able to buy one on your way to whatever goal your runecrafting is, whether that's 99, 120, 200 mil, or even just one level. Staying on the RC theme, Nexus mod is the next relic that we have to talk about, and it's another runecrafting one. It's powerful because it saves about 5 to 10 seconds on every runecrafting run to the Abyss, as it teleports you to the center instead of the outer ring. When you're doing 60 or more of these an hour, that really adds up. This slides into A tier. It's only not an S tier relic, as it's a time save relic versus changing how gameplay is, though I would 100% put this on if you're going to do any amount of runecrafting training with the Abyss, even if it's just for an hour. Endurance might just be the worst relic in this entire video, and that's saying something. It's making its home in F tier. It provides unlimited run energy, which sounds great, especially if you're an old school player, but there are so many ways around this in RS3 that run energy really isn't a problem. The saltwater spring exists, which gives the same effect for 15 minutes. Mint cakes get you to 100% run energy in one click, and super energy potions are 160% energy in one inventory spot. By the time you're 81 Archaeology and unlock this relic, run energy won't be a problem for you. Farm Ecology is an interesting relic. It's one that you either aren't going to ever use or one that you kind of want on all the time. With that in mind, it fits in the middle at C tier. Herb runs can be lucrative, with the best herbs giving about 1 mil in profit per run in about 5 minutes, and with Farm Ecology, your herbs will never die, which will improve your profits. However, in modern RuneScape, you can get some nice AFK methods to get 3 mil plus per hour pretty easily, so it's hard to have enough motivation to consistently do herb runs. Or if you're in a high level position, herb runs are not enough profit. For Ironman, they'll make use of this relic a little bit more, but still they get so many herbs from PVM drops that farming isn't as much of an issue as you might think it is. Always Adds is a relic that I think could have been made better, but it just isn't that good. It essentially gives you the Inferno Adds effect, where all logs you cut are burnt for immediate firemaking XP. You need 79 firemaking to unlock this, as you need the flame gloves to make the seed of the Charyu tree active again. The actual benefit is good. Something like Curly Roots is great for firemaking XP and one of the best active training methods for that skill. But at the same time, the Superheat Form Prayer exists, and with all the prayer boosting gear we have, you can essentially make it restore over time with a Super Prayer renewal. It's just not worth the 400k activation cost, as Drinking Prayer is cheaper. For those that don't have the Saren spells yet, it could still see some use, which makes it home in C tier make the most sense. Sticky Fingers, unlocked at 84 Archaeology, is a relic that allows you to keep pickpocketing again until you are caught or your inventory is filled up. This is really good for hand members as you can AFK gather some easy clues. The only downside to this relic is that it doesn't thieve at the same rate as if you were spam clicking, so your actual gains are lower, but the AFK-ness is great. I would throw this on when going for the easy clue collection log. Even if you spam click most of the time, sometimes you'll be AFKing and maybe you'll get a clue during that. B tier it is. Deathless is a relic where if you die in dungeoneering, you get no XP penalty associated with that floor. This is very, very, very good for dunge. Dying once costs you 7% of your XP, and each death just adds more to that. If you instead get 0% XP cost, you can be a little more aggressive in getting through the dungeons as you aren't worried about dying, which leads to faster floors and more XP per hour. Seeing as this only impacts one facet of the game and can't be used anywhere else, it drops down to C tier, though it is still something I would put on if I were going to be doing dunge. Divine Conversion is another S tier relic. It basically gives you the cash boost effect at all times. Very, very good. Not only as a money-making method for mains, around Archaeology release, this got upwards of 15 mil per hour, and it was somewhat AFK, but it's also a must have on an Ironman account because it's the fastest way to get energy, and therefore the fastest way to get divine charges to get back to doing combat. Bait and Switch was one of the new relics added with Orphan, and it's an okay relic. I wouldn't call it a world beater, but it has its uses. Instead of giving you raw fish, it instead gives you cooked fish and half the cooking XP you would have gotten if you had cooked that fish successfully. This is great for Ironman accounts or people who want to passively train cooking and fishing while at swarm fishing, but the majority of the XP gained with fishing for main accounts won't be there. Personally, I AFK'd at Cristo fishing for 200 mil fishing, and it wouldn't give any benefit there. On top of that, raw fish is usually more expensive than cooked fish because of the 10% chance to double with the portable range and modified sous chef hat. For its niche use and Ironman use, it goes into B tier. Death Note is another S tier skilling relic. It automatically notes guaranteed bone or ash drops, so for example, if you were killing an abyssal demon, the infernal ashes that are dropped on every kill will automatically be noted. With the upgraded Bone Crusher automatically picking up bones, or using ModPie's new loot interface, you can get a large noted stack of bones and ashes in your inventory with little effort. Its activation cost is about 550k, so if you're going to get that much in ashes or bones, I would swap to it. Abyssal Link is a clue scroll only relic. It makes it so that the teleports no longer need runes but give no magic XP. This is something that you would turn on if you're doing a batch of 50 clues. Not bringing the runes with you saves a couple inventory spaces on rune pouches, which is key to fit as many teleports as you can into your preset. If you've ever watched a micro stream, then you know how crazy his presets can get. With that in mind, I put it at C. It's too expensive to have on at all of the time with its 250 monolith power cost. The other potential best skilling relic is Slayer Introspection, which goes right into S tier. This gives you the ability to choose the maximum or minimum amount when you get a new Slayer task. This is so good, but you don't really realize it until you get it and start using it. Get a task that bad, instead of wasting points skipping it, instead you just minimize it out and get it done quickly. Get a task where you need the soul or a unique item like the Edemu pet, boom, max it out and then extend it by 20% more and you now have a ton more to kill. This is a direct increase to XP per hour or GP per hour or whatever you are going for because more time is spent on the tasks you want to spend on and less time are spent on tasks where you don't want to spend on. And that is all the skilling relics done, but we are not done yet as there are 3 more categories: XP, luck, and combat. We're going to save combat for last and move on to the luck relics. Now, if you have any history with this channel, you will know that I am not a fan of luck rings. I think they are super overrated and the amount they impact is very little. On top of that, the Luck of the Dwarves relic costs about 70 mil to just put it in there, so that's a cost you shouldn't want to spend. The tier 1 and tier 2 luck relics can go right into F tier. You can tell which one is which by the amount of lines, so that's the tier 1 one. The tier 2 one has 2, the tier 3 has 3, and the tier 4 has 4. At the stage of the game where you're going to want to use the tier 1 and tier 2 luck relic, they're not going to impact you that much as there are better uses of your relic power and relic slots. On top of that, a simple luck potion will give you an hour of T2 and T1 luck, and it only costs 25k. The only real use I see for these lower relics is if you were going to be doing Barrows or God Wars Dungeon 1 and you have another good ring to use that isn't the Ring of Fortune or Ring of Wealth. And even then, you're probably better off having other relics on and camping that Ring of Fortune. For T3 and T4 luck, it becomes much more usable as you will be at a stage where you can get rings that are better than just camping a luck ring. I still think it's a waste of a relic slot, but it's at the point where it's reasonable to put in. By the time you're killing the top level bosses, you're going to have things like Asylum Surgeon Ring, Ring of Death, or Ring of Vigor as a ring you can use, meaning that it saves you one inventory slot for the 1% increased chance. That 1% increased chance is still so small though. Say you do enough next to get 100 unique items, which is about 2.1k KC. If you had won a luck ring for every single drop, then you would have 101 unique items from Nex. That's really small. It's one extra item in 2,000 kills. And Nex is a place that drops items very frequently. It's only a couple thousand GP per kill extra that you get, but I won't hate if that's what you want to do. The T3 and T4 relics go into C tier. The only place that I use luck rings are places like Elite Dungeons where it's a really long period and the drop rates are small enough that I feel like there is a big impact in the luck ring. Now it's time to start talking about XP. There are 4 XP relics, each giving 2% extra XP to the different types of skills. There are Gathering, Artisan, Combat, and Support, and every skill in the game except for Invention falls in one of those 4. Artisan skills are the skills where you transfer one material into another. Think smithing, where you take ores into bars or bars into plate bodies. These skills are often expensive but fast to train, so getting 2% extra XP means 2% less spent on the skill. These artisan skills are also often trained in bulk on something like DXP, so you're going to be swapping relics around a lot less. With those two things in mind, it goes right into S tier. Next up, we have the gathering skills. These are often the slowest skills in the game, but they are either profit or break even. These skills take items from the game and create them, like mining, where you get ores out of nothing. This isn't as important of a boost because these skills are often done in AFK time and not in large bursts, except for Archaeology with the artifact creation. This means that if you want to maintain the 2% XP boost and your other relics, you're probably going to be swapping a lot more than the Artisan one. Personally, I wouldn't bother with this relic except for Archaeology, as you can just swap it on whenever you do a ton of restorations. Though if you aren't a PVMer and are a skiller at heart, you can just always have this relic on as you go through all your gathering skills. This puts it in A tier. For the support skills, the relic isn't that good. Agility is often trained passively with Silverhawks. Thieving is a very quick skill and a lot of people do post 99 training for GP or clues. Slayer benefits more from having combat relics or other boosted relics than the 2% XP, as getting 2% more kills per hour or better tasks is better for overall XP per hour. Dunge is the only skill where you can fully benefit from it, as you can put on this relic, Deathless, and then another combat relic to help you navigate the dungeon and take advantage of the 2% XP boost. With that in mind, it's in the B tier. It's something that if you're going to be doing a lot of camping dunge during DXP, you'll want to throw on. And last, we have the combat skills. The main combat skills like attack, defense, ranged, and magic run into the same issue as Slayer did with the support relic. Basically, you'll get more XP per hour if you end up just picking combat relics and doing combat that way. But for both prayer and summoning, you want to have this relic on. Both are expensive like the artisan skills, and both are very important to train, so that 2% extra XP is very nice. With it being near useless for regular combats and godly for prayer and summoning, it sits nicely in at A tier. Turns out I forgot about a skilling relic, Flow State. This was added with Orthan, and it's a great mainscaper relic. Instead of getting soil, you instead gain artifacts 20% faster. This is really nice, as artifacts are the main driver of Archaeology XP, and you're only losing a little bit of GP on the soil or the materials that the soil was turned into with the auto sifter. If you are buying excess materials, I would 100% suggest having this relic on for Archaeology training. The only thing that kept it out of S tier is that it's basically useless for Ironman, as that just means more time spent getting materials. We're finally here. It's time to talk about the combat relics. There are 7 of them in total, some good, some bad, but all in all, a lot of fun. Font of Life is a very interesting relic. It's incredibly good early game as the HP increase is a flat increase, so going from 1000 HP to 1500 HP is just amazing. On top of that, you don't actually have to start training Archaeology to unlock it, as it's the tutorial reward. And finally, it's relevant in combat perk setups all the way until you unlock the 650 relic power at 120 Archaeology. Its 50 monolith cost allows it to fit into perk setups where your max is only 500. With all that in mind, it is an A tier relic. Next up is a relic you've probably heard about, Berserkers Fury. This relic causes you to do more damage the less amount of HP you have, much like the Darroch set effect. This caps out at 5.5% bonus damage when you are below 1% HP, but most of the time people will be at half HP or slightly above half HP, which is a about 2% DPS increase. Sounds small, but it really adds up quickly. As this is part of the main setup for relics, it's automatically an S tier perk. Deathward is a cool relic. The lower your HP is, the lower amount of damage you take as you have a damage reduction. This combos extremely well with the Darroch relics as you can keep yourself at 25% HP, giving a big damage boost and a big damage reduction. However, this effect isn't that meaningful, and as we are locked to 3 relics maximum, most people use that third relic slot as their quality of life slot, having either one of the later relics, Persistent Rage, or a luck ring in that slot. Though if you don't care about stalling or having a luck ring in your relic setup, then this relic is for you, and with that in mind, it goes into B tier. Fury of the Small is the other main combat relic. It gives you 1% extra adrenaline on basic abilities. That means instead of a base 8%, it's now 9%. It sounds super small, but it adds up over time, and that means more ultimates, more thresholds, more special attacks, which all lead to more damage. I'm not really sure how to quantify that extra damage. Those much smarter than me will be able to do that, but you can really feel the difference when PBMing with and without this relic on. Again, being part of the main combat setup puts it right into S tier. I mentioned Persistent Rage during Deathward, and it's a relic I've been using ever since my hiatus for leagues. It's a quality of life at heart, but it's just so nice to have to not adren stall anymore. Waiting for the AOD team to form, just get 100% adren and AFK at next bank. Banking between kills, don't need to worry about using a defensive to keep my adren up. It would be better to use Deathward as it has some impact on PVM, but I cannot be bothered to adren stall once I started using Persistent Rage. The one thing I will mention is that for Rots you want to have this relic on, as there is a forced cutscene which lasts more than 10 seconds, so you're forced to lose adren. There also exists the Adrenaline Urn, but it's untradeable in nature and it's a very rare drop. On top of that, it also takes up an inventory slot, and the fact that it needs to be charged makes it annoying to use. Overall, I think Persistent Rage slots in nicely at B tier with the other option with Deathward. Heightened Census is one of the most expensive relics to use at 350 monolith power, but its effect is pretty cool and unique. It increases your maximum adrenaline up to 110%. That means you can store some excess adrenaline. This is really good at places where you can't really take advantage of the effect of Berserkers Fury, as that is the relic you are going to replace, but you are still ultimating or doing dump rotations a lot. The one place where I use this relic is as the Chinner at AOD, because I need to start the kill with a Statius Warhammer special attack and then an Eldritch special attack. Having that excess adrenaline is super helpful to be able to immediately do a threshold rotation. And I usually stay at high HP doing that rule due to the nature of being a Chinner and hitting all the minions and getting massive amounts of soul split. So Berserker's Fury doesn't give me much extra damage. This is going into C tier due to the niche nature of the relic and the fact that it costs 7k chronotes to swap on because of the high 350 monolith power cost. And last, but certainly least, we have Conservation of Energy, which gives you 10% adrenaline recharged when you use an ultimate. Basically acting as a ring of vigor for ultimates. This is bad because anywhere you would use this perk, you would just slap on Heightened Senses instead, which is better as it works with both ultimates and gives you a larger buff for special attacks and extra adrenaline gained over 100. So right in the dumpster at F tier. I really hope you enjoyed the video. I had fun coming up with all these rankings. There's always something that I really get wrong and you guys disagree with me, so please let me know down below what major changes you would have made to this list. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like down below, subscribe if you like the type of content I'm creating, and have a good day.